The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
Dr. Grace, I'm so glad that you're with us today. There's so many things I want to talk to you about. I do want you to address this Zogby poll that's just come out, this shock poll that shows Marco Rubio in second place. And you and I have talked about this before, and I've revealed to my audience that, number one, he's not a natural-born citizen. He's just not. His father was a Cuban citizen at the time of his birth, at the time of Rubio's birth. And then, on top of that, Marco Rubio is the one who trashed Michelle Bachmann publicly when Michelle and 5 other congressmen doing their job just simply asked some questions of this current administration. Why are there so many Muslim Brotherhood in the White House and in the U.S. government? And aren't they the, quote, enemy? What's up with that? Marco Rubio was the first to attack her. So what do you think about all this? And tell us about the top 3 and your quick analysis.
Look, I am not a fan of Marco Rubio. He was a darling of the Tea Party, who the minute that he got national attention began to play the Washington game.
Yes, he did.
And the moment that I really decisively turned on him was after the 2012 elections. He went on to this whole discussion about how we've got to reform immigration, and he was leading the charge on basically granting amnesty to illegals.
Yes, he was.
And he basically did a 180, and that showed to me that he is typical Washington.
Thank you.
The minute they get a little bit of media attention, it goes right to their head, and they throw their principles out the window. So he's somebody that I absolutely despise. I am shocked that he's leading as high in this poll as has been revealed today. But I don't think it's going to last, Carl. My assessment is, no, it's not going to last. The field is very fluid right now. He's come to prominence lately because he knows Cuba, and the president's Cuba policy is in a spotlight.
Yeah.
And he is doing very good work opposing the president. So that's why he's come to light. But when his entire record is examined, you're going to see those numbers drop again. I think he's a flash in the pan right now in terms of a poll like that for the Republican nomination. You've got much better contenders that are going to come forward, and he's going to drop significantly. There's too many people occupying the same space right now. You've got Jeb Bush and Mitt Romney. They're calling up donors, and donors are saying, you know what, we'd like you guys to sort things out, and perhaps one of you occupy the establishment role, the Republican establishment role. In fact, they had a meeting yesterday. Bush and Romney did a private meeting. There was some speculation that maybe they would strike a deal so that one of them would bow out, one of them would possibly not run. All the reports that come out have said that, well, they can't reveal exactly what was said, but so far there is no deal. But you know what? We don't know exactly how it's going to play out.
Yeah.
Because to have a closed-door meeting between 2 establishment candidates, I think that's very significament.
Yes.
They may have struck some kind of a tacit bargain that if one of them starts to pull ahead, the other might pull back.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they've established when that other one will pull back, and in exchange, that person will get a plum position if the other one wins.
Well, and I don't doubt that at all. And of course, they're going to deny it at this point, but you and I know that's exactly what happened. I mean, more than likely, if I was a betting man, that's where I would bet. Listen, I pray that you're correct about Marco Rubio being a flash in the pan here. I really do, because I just want to touch on this, and then we're going to move forward. But, when he trashed Michelle Bachmann, I mean, that shocked me. I mean, I knew about the, the amnesty thing where he was waving, and I knew about his sliding towards the middle as soon as he got some media attention. I, of course, know that he is not a natural-born citizen. He is not constitutionally qualified to be president, and I will yell against that if he winds up being a contender. But this thing of trashing Michelle Bachmann and 5 other congressmen, I use her name because she's the most prominent, but 6 congressmen serving on an intelligence committee doing their job. The Democrats didn't even have to address it. He jumped on them, like we say down here in the South, like white on rice. It was unbelievable. And I can only think of a few reasons. You see things a lot more broader than I do, so please help me if I've missed something. But the only reason he would do that is because, number one, he's supportive of the Muslim Brotherhood and the political correctness thereof. Or number 2, he's afraid of the Muslim Brotherhood and the political correctness thereof. Or number 3, he just wanted to make some political hay and sliding towards the middle. again,
Yes, it's number 3. I have no question about it, because you see how that moment for you was an aha moment when
yes.
you saw the character of the man.
Yes, cowardice.
And for me, it was his about face on immigration.
Yeah.
I saw clearly the character of the man. And in both instances, what we see is a person that doesn't have principles. And what he was trying to do was he was trying to curry favor with the mainstream media and distinguish himself from the so-called extremists in the Republican Party.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's a very typical strategy of folks who at first ride to power based on the support of the extremists and then turn away from them when they no longer think they need
The
them.
only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.